The academic orientation webinar is an excellent platform for resolving any doubts regarding minors, micro-specialization, breadth, electives, additional subjects, and many other academic courses. So, this webinar will, for sure, be a guide for all of you for navigating your future career path, and it will help you choose your courses very wisely. And for guiding our first panelist is Mr. Akshat Ansh Nayak, a final year undergraduate student of the Department of Mechanical Engineering with a micro specialization in artificial intelligence and applications and minor in mathematics and computing. Our second panelist is Mr. Palkit Lohia, who graced the position of the UG representative to the Institute Senate and the Vice Chairperson of the Undergraduate Council. He is a student of the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences with a micro-specialization in artificial intelligence and applications, entrepreneurship and innovation. I kindly request the panelists to switch on their cameras. Panelists, please switch on your cameras.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you, panelists. Let us now proceed with the webinar. The panelists will be open to your queries at the end of the session. So it's a humble request to the audience to post their doubts in the chat box at the end of the session so that your query can be addressed very easily. So moving forward, we'll have a look at the topics which will be discussed in today's webinar. So the topics that would be discussed are subject registration, breadths, additionals and electives, chronos introduction, central timetable, minor and micro specialization, and few additional questions.
जैसे 5,000 वाली है तो 1,000 में तो बोलेंगे हम।
Okay, sorry for the technical issues. So we'll now move forward with the next slide. So the first section that we are going to discuss is about subject registration. So the most frequently asked question in this domain is what is subject registration and what are the steps for it? So I request Mr. Akshat and Mr. Palkit to take over.
Hey, thanks, Prashant. So, taking it forward now, coming to the subject registration, right? it's the first step that you have to take this semester before you start your normal course of academics. Now, I think till the previous semester, it was pretty straightforward for you guys. You had to just tick all the checkboxes there and pay the fees, and your subject registration was done with. But starting this semester, there's a bit of change, right? You pay the fees, you exercise your breadth choice as well, right? Now, what is breadth? We'll come to that in the next section. But there will be a course that you have to choose from, which the option for which wasn't there until the previous semester. Now, once you have exercised your breadth choice, only then will you be able to complete the process of your academic registration. It's pretty straightforward. But there's a few catches here. Now, not everyone could be able to pay the fee before the semester starts, right? So some of you might have taken a education loan or something of the sort, and you might need a bit more time to pay the fees. And as per the stipulated timeline, you might not be foreseeing the funds that you have to pay the fees. So all you need to do is send a mail to the associate dean of, let's say, if you're from an engineering department or from the architecture department, then you have to send a mail to associate dean FOEA. If you're from the department of biotech biosciences, then you have to send a mail to associate dean BTBS. Or if you're from any of the science departments, for example, mathematics, physics, economics, and so on and so forth, you have to send a mail to associate dean FOS with a CC to your faculty advisor and HOD, requesting them to extend the duration of your fee period and enable you to register for the semester without paying the fees. So even that option is there. A lot of students face this problem with respect to the fee payment and hence the subject registration. So you don't need to worry about it. Now, once that is done, again, you have to fill in the preference order of your breadth choices. At least that's how it used to work 4 years ago. Once you have filled in your preferences, uh, a breadth course is allocated to you, and then once you get that breadth course to yourself, you complete the academic registration process. Right. So it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, Mr. Akshat, would you like to add anything?
No, whatever Pulkit said is self-explanatory.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So now let us move to the next topic. The next topic is breadth, additional, and electives, which is a very important topic, and there are many doubts which the students encounter in their academic course. So moving forward with the questions under this domain, the first question is, what are breadth, additional, and elective courses? And how do the grades in these courses affect the CGPA?
Okay, so I'll take up this question. So there are three types of courses that you can take on campus. One is an additional, one is an elective, and the third one is a breadth. So additional are courses which do not affect your CGPA. They are just courses you kind of go and audit just for the sake of like learning a particular new topic or completing your minor, which I'll explain in the later slide. But in your overall CGPA, that course does not show up. In your transcript, your overall CGPA, that particular course, it does not affect it. But yeah, if you are enrolled in that particular additional, you need to pass it. Like you might even get a P or a D, does not matter, but you need to pass it. Failing in an additional is as same as failing in any other subject. Now, how is it different from breadth and elective? Now, breadth and electives are courses that you choose, and they range from 3 credits to 4 credits. And what are the difference between breadth and elective? So we have a concept of open breadth. Uh, uh, a few years ago, it used to be HSS breadth and non-HSS breadth, but now currently it is all open breadth. What does an open breadth mean? That it's in your timetable you are given a slot. And in a subject registration, let's say you have a slot of breadth in A. Does it mean that during the in the timetable, A slot is from, let's say, Monday 8 to 10 and Tuesday 9 to 10. So it's a 3 credit course. So you can choose any subject you want from any department other than your particular department, and you can apply for it and you can do it. Now, that is what a breadth is, that you can choose any subject from any department and you can apply for it. And if the professor of that subject accepts your request, they will do it. Now, how it is very good for you all this year is because you can apply for any breadth you want. Uh, there's no restriction on the number of available breadths or the type of available breadth. Okay, it used to be back before, but yeah, obviously you need to convince the professor that please like allow me to take this breadth. I know, and you must have a good reason enough that I want to learn or I want to complete my minor. It's a requirement in my minor. It's a requirement in my micro and stuff like that. And now, what is elective? Elective are of two types. One is depth elective, and no, so that also changed. Okay, so electives are courses that are by your own department, and you get to choose out of them. Like, let's say you have given an elective in B3 slot. So what does it mean that in B3 slot you will have an option of, let's say, 10 courses of your department or courses that is relevant to your department. Uh, like if I'm in MNC, in my depth elective, I will have courses from CSE also, a few selected courses. And out of those 10 or 15 selected courses, I will have to pick one of them to use as my depth elective. And it's a similar process. If the seats are over, you'll have to request the professor to like take you in. And so what's the difference between breadth, elective, and additional here? Just a brief summary that breadth is any course you can take in a particular time slot from a department that is not your department. Electives are courses which you can take, which are from a bucket of courses that your department has particularly approved, which are relevant to your major. And additional are courses that do not affect your CGPA. You just take them for learning or completing any minor, micro, or any other reason. And if you fail in an additional, you have to repeat that course. So yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay, Mr. Palkit, would you like to add anything to this?
Yeah. So in terms of breadth, additional and elective, right? As Akshat said, the breadth is an open. So the breadth is also of two types, right? One is a breadth elective and one is an HSS breadth that you all have. There's just one breadth, mandatory breadth for you all. That is the HSS breadth. Uh, as I was talking about in the previous section, there will be a list of around 20 courses that will be given to you. You have to fill in the preference order, and then you have to choose as in you are allocated a breadth as per that. Right? In terms of elective courses, well, the elective are of two types. Right? One is a depth elective, one is a breadth elective. Now, the open breadth that Akshat was talking about is actually the breadth elective that will show up on your curriculum. The depth elective is basically the elective from within your department. Breadth elective, it's basically you can choose pretty much any course that the institute has to offer. Right. The major difference between breadth additional elective here would be breadth and elective. It is mandatory for everyone to do it, right? And it affects your overall CGPA. Additional, as Akshat said, it is not mandatory for anyone to do it. If you are interested in a course per se, or if you want to complete a minor for which you require at least 3 additional courses, you have to take up an additional. But if you fail in a course, it will show up as an F in your transcript. There is no supplementary for that. If you want to change the course, you can do that as well in terms of additional if you get an F grade. But you can graduate with an F grade in your additional, whereas you cannot graduate with an F grade in your breadth or elective. Right. So this is pretty much it that I'd like to add.
Okay, thank you for your response. Before we move on to the next question, I would like to tell the audience that please post your doubts at the end of the session so that it would be easier for the panelists to address the doubts as well. So now let's move on to the next question. So the next question is, what are the points to consider while selecting any course as a breadth, additional, or an elective course?
Okay, so I'll answer this. So usually people take additionals for the sole motive of completing their minor or micro. So I'll explain more about it, but I'll just give you a brief reason why is it important for a minor. So in a minor, you need to do a certain X amount of lab courses and a Y amount of theory courses, which is compulsory. Now there's this rule in minor that you have to take at least three courses as an additional because it's an hack here, right? Some departments, as you have a lot of breadth courses, you can obviously take all of your minor required courses as your breadth courses, and you might think that you can complete it, but the rule isn't that way. It's that you need to put some extra effort, like you need to take some additional subjects, and the rule is that you need to take three additional subjects minimum to complete your minor. There's no such rule for micro, but for minor, that's the rule. So how do you choose which breadth, which additional, or which elective to take? It totally depends on you guys. I would say if you are grade oriented, like you want to improve your grade, Palkit will explain how to know whether a subject has a good grade distribution over the years. But obviously, you need to take informed decision. Like, is that coursework relevant to whatever you're doing? Is that coursework gonna help you provide you with prerequisites for any later course that you are going to do? Is that course a part of your minor, your micro, and stuff like that? It depends from person to person how you consider. But yeah, also there's an important point in breadth that you need to have at least one humanities and social sciences breadth uh, in your entire transcript. You need to take a particular, you can take any HSS course which is available in the bucket, but yeah, you need to take at least one. And it does not matter if you take it under the HSS breadth or the open breadth. You can take it under any breadth, and it will be converted to an HSS breadth. So yeah, I think that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for
I,
such an insightful answer. Uh, Mr. Palkit, would you like to add anything?
yeah, just one small thing. It's a small recommendation, right, to everyone out here. Do something that is meaningful, right, in terms of the courses. You might want to take up around 5 courses from HSS, not economics. I mean HSS, like psychology, linguistics, languages, and so on and so forth. I don't mean to demean them, but just taking up those courses for the sake of improving your grades, it's not going to help you in the long run, right? You're not going to learn very meaningful things out there, right? It might bump up your CGPA by a point or so, but then again, does it really matter in the long run? I don't think so. So just a small recommendation that please do take courses which actually interest you. I mean, of course, you have to look out after the grades, but then again, just don't run after the grades. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, also adding to Palkit's point here, in your CV, you added coursework information, right? And also when, let's say you're applying for MS or you're applying just for CDC, let's say. In CDC, when a company comes, they come from a particular industry. And if you're from mechanical or if you're from, let's say, computer science, they expect you to have done a few courses that is their company's requirement. Like, let's say if I'm working in the energy industry in my company, they expect me to, and I'm a data scientist, they expect me to know the basics of energy, like how manufacturing is conducted, how oil is extracted, and stuff like that. So if you haven't done those relevant courses, you might know a lot of data, does not matter. But if you don't know those relevant terminologies, how things work, that does the people who already know that gives them a very big upper hand. So I would say, yeah, do take courses which will improve your grades. If you have a CGPA which you expect more from it, and but still remember and keep this in mind that you need to uh, do something that is actually meaningful and impactful in the long run. Things like CGPA, a grade which is below your expectations does not matter in the long run. It's all that matters is how much you learn in the entire 4 or 5 years of your IIT life.
Okay, thank you for your guidance. Now, let's move on to the next topic of this webinar. And the next topic is about the chronos. So, I would request the panelists to introduce chronos to the audience.
Right. I'll take this up. So, guys, meet Kronos. Right. It's a very straightforward app which will help you, I think, in the next 4 years or 3 years of your stay at KGP. You can pretty much know the grade distribution of every course that is out there in offered by the institute over the last couple of years. Right. I think, Ishan, could you please click on the link and show the audience how the website looks like?
Yeah, sure.
Let me know when it's open. I can't see the screen.
Yeah, I hope it's visible.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple website, right? You click on the dialog box that is out there, not the dialog box, the placeholder. You enter the course name or the course code. It is smart enough to auto fill it. Right? And once you've done that, you can have a look at the syllabus of the course, which is there in the first link, the spookbite.github.io. The second one, the first chart that you see out there, it's you know, uh, the grade distribution of that course over the years. And the next graph that you see is basically the grade distribution in terms of percentages of students allocated a grade over the course of years. Right? It's a good website. I think the data is not up to date. It's under maintenance right now. I think you will be able to see the updated version of the website in a couple of days. But yeah, I mean, this is something that you might want to keep handy over at least during the times of subject registration.
Could you scroll once, uh, Sean?
Yeah.
Also, if anyone wants to add anything to the website, please feel free to feel free to reach out. We'll be more than happy to accommodate your requests in the website.
Yep. So you can see both the graph version of it and also a tabular version of it. There's an option in the bottom of the graph that you can just see the tabular form, whichever is. So click on this show data with respect. Yeah, just scroll down. Yep. So yeah, so this is what Chronos is, and I don't think that I need to explain anything more. Palkit was the pioneer of this web app, and yeah, feel free to reach out to Palkit if you want to add any feature, if you feel that there's some feature that is missing on this, some data that is missing on this.
Right, that's pretty much it.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much for your response. Now, we would like to proceed further with the next topic. And this topic is nothing but the central timetable, which is decided by the institute itself. So, a common question in the minds of many students is that how do you understand the central timetable? And how do you use it to choose a course as a breadth or additional or an elective?
Okay, I'll take this up. Can you move to the next slide and show me that central timetable once?
Yeah.
Okay. So the central timetable might feel a little confusing, but it's very straightforward to understand. So you might see there are three things here, like A3 1 comma 2, C3 1, and those 1 comma 2 are in the brackets, and while A3 is separate. So now these three elements, they signify some different things. So A, B, C, D, these things signify a slot, particular slot. That, let's say, A slot, you can see that A is the yellow slot, right? There's A2 uh, in Monday from 8 to 10, and then there is yeah, there's just A2 in the slot from 8 to 10 on the Monday. And then you can see A3 is from 8 to 9 or 8 to 10. And then from 12 to 1 on a Tuesday. So it is uh, quite evident here that after the A, whatever the number is, let's say it's a 2 or it's a 3, that signifies the number of hours in a week that this particular slot has. So let's say it's a 3 credit course. It means it will have 3 hours per week. So that means that it will be either A3 or B3 or C3 or D3 or something like that. Now, the yellow ones are all 2 hour slot. That means that they are a 2 credit course. Sorry, they total take up 2 hours of the week. And you can see that like A2, B2, D2, they have only one occurrence in the entire timetable. So there are some courses which are just of 2 credits. They take up the A2 slot or the B2 slot or the D2 slot. And then we have, let's say, 3 hour slot, which is the dark gray ones. Now, you can see that on Monday we have A3 1, and also on Monday we have A3 1 comma 2. Now, what they have done here is that they have inside the brackets, you can see there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3. What they have done here is that, let's say, it's a 3 credit course. They have distributed the 3 hour course into three parts: the first hour, the second hour, the third hour. So you can see that on Monday it is A3 1 comma 2. That means on Monday 8 to 9 the first hour happens, and on Monday 9 to 10 the second hour happens. That is 1 comma 2. And on Tuesday we have A3 of 3. That is, of the A3 slot we have the third hour. So basically, I'll just repeat what it means, that the inside the bracket it tells you which part of the 3 or 4 hours is that particular slot in. For example, one more, we have here the C3 slot, which is the 4 hour slot. So, sorry, the C4 slot, which is the 4 hour slot. So in C4, you can see on Monday we have the C4 1. Then on Wednesday we have C4 2 comma 3. That means the second hour and the third hour, because the first hour is already done in Monday. So on Wednesday we have the second hour and the third hour. Then on Thursday we have the fourth hour, C4 4, which is from 10 to 11. So this is what it means, and it's very well color coded in the uh, legend below, that the yellow one says that it's a 2 hour slot, the gray one says that it's a 3 hour slot, the orange one says it's a 4 hour slot. Now there are something called lab slots also, and lab slots are all of 3 hours each. Some people have the labs from 10 to 1, and some people have the labs from 2 to 5. Now you can see that there are lab slots like Q, J, X, K, R, M, N, P, O. Okay, so these are all lab slots which are disjoint with each other. Like, they don't have any clashes. But obviously, you can see that, let's say for lab Q clashes with C3 and C4. It clashes with B3. It clashes with D3 and D4. So when you're taking up a lab, you need to keep that in mind, whatever slot you're taking, that it does not clash with a course that is already there. Like, because when you are taking a when you're taking a depth core subject, the depth core subjects has its slot defined. Like, let's say it is C4 only. Now, if it is C4, you know that if you have a lab which is available on the Q and J slot, you cannot take the Q slot because you already have a course in it. So you'll have to take a J slot. So this is something that you will face during your subject registration, like which courses to take and how to choose courses in your available time slots. Because you have a depth core subjects which have their lab slots fixed. Sorry, which have their theory slots fixed. It can be A3, B3, C3, D3. Other than that, if you have some breadth, you need to see that these breadths don't clash with their already existing slots like A, B, C, D. Just like I said, if you have A, B, C, D in your depth core, you cannot take a breadth in your A, B, C, D slot. You need to take it in some other slot like F or G. And after you're taking a breadth, you need to choose a let's say depth elective. It's the exact same process, and then your lab slot. So you need to be very intelligent and smart about it. You need to prioritize because usually the lab slot is off because it's such a huge batch. You are divided into either 2 to 4 batches each, and you have a lab slot in. Let's say you have been given 4 different lab slots: J, X, P, M, and you need to choose one of them. You will get that option, or if you have been allotted a particular batch and you choose to take a subject, let's say, which is clashing with a particular lab slot, you can obviously go and request the professor that, sir, I have a course that is, I want to take a course that is very important for me, and I want to change my lab slot in one of the available slots. So this is what the central timetable signifies.
Okay, Mr. Palkit, would you like to add anything to this?
No, I think that covers pretty much everything.
Okay, sure. So thank you so much for simplifying such a complex timetable.
You're muted, Ishan.
So yeah, so now let's move on to the next topic of this webinar, which is the minor and micro specialization, and which is one of the most important topics for the webinar. Now let's have a look at some of the few most asked questions in this. So the first question is, what is minor and micro specialization? And what are the benefits of doing minor and micro specialization in any subject? And why should one opt for any of these courses?
Okay. So when you're enrolled in IIT Kharagpur, you are already have a major, right? But let's say I want to pursue some other department, and if I'm a mechanical engineering, I'm doing my minor in MNC. It means that I want to cover up the majority of my mathematics department, but I am not taking as many courses that is required to do to complete a major. I'm covering up the brief topics, but not going into depth so much. So this is what a minor signifies, that if you are in a major in one particular department, you can still choose to do a minor in some other department. And micro specialization is self-explanatory in the term specialization. Now, inside a department also, you have multiple subtopics, right? Like in humanities and social sciences, you have economics, you have psychology, and in mechanical engineering, let's say you have robotic systems, you have thermodynamics. So these are all topics which are independent of the on their own. And what micro specialization is basically you mastering that particular topic. So let's say I am doing my micro specialization in AI. So I have to take much fewer courses than a minor. But yeah, I'll have this after complete my micro. I'll have completed whatever requirements are for that particular subtopic out of that particular department. Now the requirements for minor and micro are kind of very similar, but they have a small difference in that. Before that, I'll answer why do you need to do a minor and micro. It's important because from two perspectives. One is from CDC perspective and another is from master's perspective. So let's say I'm doing my major in mechanical engineering, right? And I have a very knack for AI and MNC and stuff like that. And I know that when companies come, let's say it's a quant company or it's a company that is requiring a computer scientist, Like you might have seen on Google's requirement that it should be a computer science or a related field. Now, if you are an agriculture student, if you are a humanities student, you never would have the chance to like do courses that are relevant. Even if you take additional breadths in your degree, it won't show that you have taken up courses from computer science or MNC. So to just have an addition to the degree that yeah, I have along with my particular major, I've also pursued this department and have completed the relevant courses to be granted the minor. It is important for from CDC perspective and obviously from master's perspective also, because whenever you apply for a minor and it shows in your transcript, and you apply for a foreign university, they actually value it that not only you completed your major, along with that you were well motivated enough to take up additional courses and pursue your minor and similarly your micro. Now I'll move on to the next part, that what are the requirements for it. So the minor has a few requirements that whenever you are applying your minor, so your minor applications will start in your fifth semester, at the starting of your fifth semester. That is like if you're in your if you just completed your second year, you'll in this particular subject registration you can apply for the minor, but you can actually apply for the minor in every semester, uh, starting from your fifth semester. Like even if you skipped, if you missed applying for a minor in your fifth semester, does not matter. You can even apply it for the in the sixth semester. And doing minor courses has nothing to do with application. Like I can complete all the courses and I can apply for the minor in my last semester. It does not matter. I can choose to do my apply for my minor in my fifth semester and do all of my required courses in the last semester. It does not matter. But let's say if I have registered for a minor and by the end of my degree I haven't completed the requirements, like I might have a less CG, I might have not completed the number of courses I need to. It won't show up on your degree. That's it. Like there won't be any other repercussion. You can obviously apply for a minor and not choose not to pursue it. It will be displayed on your CV or resume that you are pursuing a minor. You needn't complete your minor or micro for that. It will still be displayed on your CV. Now, minor has one more requirement that your CGPA should be, or CGPA slash SGPA must be greater than 8. And during the time of when you are applying it, it should be greater than 7.5. So let's say you are applying it right now in your fifth semester and you have a CGPA which is less than 7.5, you cannot apply for it right now. But in next semester when you have a CGPA which is greater than 7.5, you, you can apply for the minor. Now, what's the catch between the CGPA slash SGPA greater than 8? Let's say I'm pursuing my minor. After application of a minor, I have to maintain a CGPA or an SGPA greater than 8 in every semester. Let's say I'm a 7.8 CGPA person, but I have to make sure that in that particular year semester, I get an SGPA which is greater than 8. Let's say I have a SGPA which is 6, but I have a CGPA which is 8.5. That's also works. But I need to have one of them greater than 8. The moment I lose that, my minor registration just disappears. It does not matter how much efforts I put in, if I've completed all the required courses for minor and all, it will be just removed. While for micro specialization, the criteria is similar, but just 0 0.5 grade point less. So for micro, it is that you need to register it using the 7. When you are, you need to register it starting from the uh, end of your second semester. That is the starting of a second year. You need to register for it. You can register for it whenever you want after that. And the minimum CGPA criteria for is that when you're applying for it, your CGPA should be greater than 7. And in your subsequent semesters, it should be either a SGPA or a CGPA should be greater than 7.5. So it is for micro, it is 7.5, and for minor, it is 8. Now, what is the difference in the course curriculum structure? If you just open a minor, like Ishan, can you open the PDF of minor curriculum?
Yeah.
Yeah, also, Ishan, the micro curriculum that is given is of 2014-15. It's the older one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just share the latest one with you all right after this. So we had a updated one released in 2024 itself. Okay, so just go below. Let's open aerospace here. Okay, so so aerospace does not have a you cannot choose from the project subjects you need to take. You need to do all of them. Like here are there are given 7 projects, and in the minor curriculum it's also given that in which semester this particular subject is offered, in the third semester or in the fourth semester. Like let's say it's offered in the third semester, and you are in your fifth semester and you want to apply. So you still can request a professor and they will approve for it. Like this third semester is for the people who are actually pursuing aerospace as their major. Now it can be offered in the third semester, it can be offered in the fifth semester, does not matter. All that third and fifth says that is it in autumn semester or is it in spring semester? And you can see that it has LTP mentioned, it has the credits mentioned, it has the prerequisite mentioned. So one thing which is important for minor that some subjects in minor will have prerequisites which you will have to do. Could you just go to mathematics and computing, like scroll down? Can you just control F once? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So subjects in some departments they have created buckets. So for example, in mathematics and computing and also economics, you have buckets like group A, group C, group B, group C. And what the requirement for mathematics and computing is that you need to take at least 5 theory subjects and 2 lab subjects, and each one of the and you should take at least one of them from group A, group B, and group C. So you might see in group A, these are very basic subjects. Like group A subjects have very basic subjects, which are subjects that are offered in the second year. Group B has subjects that are offered in the third year. Like they are like you can take them up in any year you want, but yeah, uh, in that particular department, they are offered for the third year students. And for Group C, it is fourth year or fifth year. So you can see that Group C has subjects like design and analysis of algorithms. It has design and analysis of laboratory. So what you need to do to complete a minor here is that you need to choose at least one subject from each of the bucket, Group A, Group B, Group C, and also you need to satisfy the clause that you need to do at least 5 theory courses and 2 lab courses. So you can see that there are labs in groups B. There's this lab called Operations Research Laboratory. You can take that, or you can take Numerical Techniques Laboratory. So that's the requirement for it, that you need to take 5 theory subjects for MNC and 2 lab subjects for like completion of the minor. And this requirement changes for from department to department. As you could see in aerospace, they don't have buckets. They have just defined that these are the 7 courses you need to do it. In HSS, it is similar to the bucket system, that you have also been given a bucket that you can choose from this bucket, and you can just take whatever course you want according to a timetable. Like because you can see that it's operation research, it's offered by mathematics and computing. It is usually in the A slot or the B slot. Now you might have a clash because you might have your own depth code which is in the A slot and B slot. So it is something that you need to plan on your own, very smartly. That I need to remember that. maybe the next year I apply for it, I might not get the empty timetable slot to apply. So I should be uh, completing as many courses as possible in this particular semester for my minor if I have a vacancy. Because this is a problem that as our timetable has very less number of free slots available, usually students faces that if you're in a 4-year program, it's very difficult for you to usually complete a minor. Not because of the course load, it's just because of the timetable clashing. Yeah, can you like open the micro requirements once? Okay, so my can you just go to the first page? Yeah. So micro is very similar structured, but it has very less number of credits. So like micro, you need to usually take 12 to 14 credits, and it has three components. Component one is one subject. It like you will be offered like a bucket of one subject, and you need to choose from them. Then component two usually has two subjects, and component three has either a project or one subject. So in total, for to complete a micro specialization, you need to do 4 projects, or you can do you need to do 4 subjects, or you can either do 3 subjects and one project. So for an example, in AIML, you don't have a project. In AIML, the component one comprises of machine learning foundations and applications, and artificial intelligence foundations and applications. So these are the 2 courses that you need to do compulsorily. Like there's no option to get there. Like if you have done so, if you have completed both of those courses, as I said, you need to do 4 courses, you need to do 2 more. So for 2 more you have the component 2, and in the component 2 you'll have a plethora of options to choose from. You have AI for manufacturing, you have AI for economics, you have secure and dependable AIML, you have deep learning foundations and applications, and so on, and you can choose any 2 of them. So you have to do 4 courses in total to complete your micro specialization. And yes, there are also some micro specializations offered by some departments which require you to do a project. Like just go below once to the first micro specialization. Ishan, just scroll to the next page. Keep on scrolling. Yeah. Like, can you open page number 6? Yeah, just the one below. No, no. Go above page 6, page 6, like the one where it was written biomedical devices and instrumentation. Yeah, yeah, this one. So here you can see that as I was saying, in component 3 it usually has a course or a subject that you need to take, sorry, project that you need to take. And here in biomedical devices and instrumentation, it's you just have the availability of projects here. So you need to take uh, either minor project 1 or minor project 2. So yeah, this is the brief idea about minor and micro. And yeah, Palkit, please correct me if I was wrong there, that you can apply for your minor or micro in any semester. I might be a little outdated on the latest information.
Yeah, so about the application for or the registration for minor and micro. Micro may you can pretty much register at the beginning of every semester, right? Micro specialization for a micro specialization. But for a minor, you can only register for it at the start of your 5th semester. Right? You can start doing the courses or taking up the courses from your 3rd semester up to the final semester. But you can only register for a minor in at the start of the 5th semester, right? Now, I think you missed a few points, Akshat. I'll just brief them about it. So, with respect to maintaining a minor, once you have done the registration, well, there is no CGPA limit as such, as in, if you have a CGPA more than 7.5, greater than equal to 7.5, and you don't have a backlog, then you will be permitted to register for a minor, right? But after you have registered for the minor, you have to maintain an SGPA or CGPA in excess of 8, and you shouldn't have any backlog, right? The same goes for micro specialization. You can register for it at any point in time. Everyone who satisfies the bare minimum criteria, that is a CGPA greater than equal to 7 and no backlogs, can register for the same. But then you have to maintain a CG or SG greater than equal to 7.5 without any backlog. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, one more addition here will be that you can take your all micro specialization courses. You can take it in all your breadth elective or your depth elective, or your additional. There's like no limit on or restriction on that. But for a minor, at least three of those 7 or 8 courses should be as additionals. That is one requirement. And also one more requirement, one more, like if you have backlog, like Palkit said that you cannot pursue your minor. But if you have a backlog in EAA, like the activities, it's fine. You can still pursue it. Like a minor in EA, like minor does not get affected by EA backlog.
Okay, thank you so much for your valuable insights. Now, let's move on to the next question. The next question is, what are the prerequisites and application criteria for micro specialization or minor? And do CGPA requirements vary by minor? So I think
Yeah,
most of the
we
part has
already, yeah.
been, yeah, most of the part has been covered already, but still if you like to add something, then you may.
No,
I
so
think
yeah.
we can move. Do you have anything to
Okay.
add?
Okay, sure. We'll move on to the next question. Now, the next question is, when is a minor or micro specialization considered complete? And are the breadth courses a part of the main degree program or separate courses requiring application?
All right. So once you have taken up all the courses, right? For minor, I think around 6 or 7 courses are required. So you need to complete at least a minimum of 20 credits for minor. For micro, I think that limit is around 10. 10 to 14 is the limit for micro. For minor, it is 20 to 24. Okay. Once you satisfy all the criteria that we have mentioned in the previous question, uh, you are eligible for a minor if and only if all the courses that you take up as a part of your minor or micro. So let's say you take up 6 courses or 7 courses, you fulfill all the credit requirement and keep up your CG or SG above 8 and all sorts of things. The grade point average of all those courses, the 6, 7 courses, will be calculated. If that CGPA or that grade point average falls below 6, you wouldn't be awarded a minor, even though you satisfy all the other criteria. So for you to get a minor, even after completing all the courses and satisfying all the conditions, there is an additional condition, which is for you to have a grade point average of all the courses that contribute towards the requirement of a minor to be above 6. And the same goes for micro specialization. And coming to the second half of the question, for minor, as we previously stated, you have to take additional. For minor, so for micro, you can do it without any additional courses.
Okay, sure.
And
Yeah.
another breadth course is part of the main degree program, or separate courses requiring application. And breadth courses we have covered it previously, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a part of the main degree program.
Okay, sure. So, Mr. Akshat, would you like to add something to
No,
this?
no, that's fine. You can move ahead.
Sure. We'll now move on to the next topic of this webinar. And this is an important topic and a very recent topic, which is about double major and the recent academic changes in the policy. So I would especially like to ask Mr. Palkit to add on to the explanation.
Sure. So double major, it's a step that was recently taken institutes in it. So what this aims towards is, for example, as you all know, right? Once we uh, yeah. So once we come join the college after the JOSA counseling, we might or might not get the branch that we desire. So to tackle that problem, and not everyone gets the privilege of getting a change of department, right? So keeping all these things in mind, we introduced the double major. What the double major basically means is, it's a glorified minor, to be very honest. It's nothing more than that. For a major, you need to have at least you need to complete 170 credits, I suppose, in a 4-year program. For the double major, you need to complete a minimum of 40 credits. So, let's say you're pursuing a double major in economics, or you're an economics student and you're pursuing a double major in mathematics. So along with your core curriculum, you have to complete minimum of 40 credits in mathematics. The limit would be given to you by the department in which once you satisfy all the criteria, as how it is with minor and micro specialization, you will be getting a double major. So basically, your degree would be known as a BS in economics or a BS MS in economics with a dual major in mathematics. That's how it would seem like. And also, it is for 2024 batch onwards. So sorry to say, but it's not for the 23 batch.
Okay, thank you so much for the valuable insights. Now we would have a look at few of the most frequently asked questions by the students, especially in the second years. So now let's move on to the questions. The first question which is asked by a student is, I am a BTech or a BA student. So is it difficult to obtain a minor with a 4-year degree?
Yeah, so
Uh,
yeah, Palkit, you go ahead.
yeah, should go ahead.
Yeah, so if you're a 4-year student, you will have around six, yeah, you'll have 6 semesters to like take up extra courses, right? And let's break it down in simple mathematics term, okay? So you have 6 semesters to take up extra courses, and a minor will require you to do 18 to 24 hours of course content and 7 to 9 hours of just a second, I'll just exactly say. Yeah, a minor will require you to take up 18 to 24 hours of contact hours and 3 to 9 hours of laboratory work. So that's in total an average of, let's say, 20 hours that you need to take up. And if it's 6 semesters, you will have to take an additional course every semester. You'll have to take an extra course of 4 credits every semester, which I would say does make it a little difficult. Not because I'm not judging on the person's capability or caliber. I'm talking about the restriction of timetable slot clashing. Because if we have 6 semesters, it's very likely that the courses that are available in that particular semester for to be taken as a minor, you will not have a particular free slot for that course. And this is a problem that I have also faced in my pursuing of minor. So, for example, just the previous semester, my semester was very less loaded. So I was hoping to like complete my minor by last semester itself. But whatever courses that was available in that particular semester did not have a slot which was not clashing with my already depth core or my breadth subject. So I couldn't take up my minor in my complete my minor in my 4th year. I still have 2 courses left to complete in my 5th year, which I'll be taking because 5th year is very it's very vacant. Like you just have 1 or 2 courses, and rest are vacant slots. You can just take complete a minor, complete a micro. So yeah, it is difficult for a student to pursue a minor when they are a 4-year student. So I would recommend if you are very keen on completing your minor, convert your degree into a 5-year degree. Uh, it will be a discussion for some other time, like what are the perks of converting your degree into a 5-year degree from a 4-year degree. And Pulkit will also be able to provide very good insights on it. But yeah, it's in my regard, it's difficult. I have heard less number of students who have been able to do so. Completing a micro is easy because it's just 4 courses and it has no restrictions that you need to take them as additionals. So you can just take them as breadths and complete it. And like all the AI courses or all the like the famous courses that are available that are required for micro specialization, they're usually uh, open in the breadths. So you can just complete a micro easily. Uh, yeah, so I think that that's it. And Palkit, if you want to add anything.
I think you've covered pretty much everything.
Okay, thank you for resolving the query. So the second question is, does IIT KGP offer a student exchange program for foreign universities? And how can we apply for the same? So anyone would like to answer that?
Yeah, so we have our IRCL portal. Uh, in IRCL portal, what they do is that they release uh, foreign internship projects very frequently. Like you might, if you just log into the IRSL FTP portal, like the Foreign Training Program portal, you might get a lot of projects which are either remote or on-site, and they have described it in the manner that the project description, the requirements that you need, and the amount of stipend that is paying, and is it remote or is it on-site, and you apply through it. It has a deadline of, let's say, a week. Like if IRCL is releasing a project today, it usually has a deadline of a week or so, and you need to apply for it. How do you apply? You need to submit your CV and you need to submit your statement of purpose, like why you want to do this and stuff like that. And then your application is sent to the particular professor, and they decide if they want you or not. So this is one of the things that is provided by our international relations cells. And to, if Palkit, can you like talk about the other student exchange program that we have under IIT Kharagpur, other than IRCL's activity portal?
Yeah, I mean, there's one SAIP and SAPP that you guys can do, but that is not a student exchange per se. It's a semester away internship slash project program. Right. So for you to avail that, what you need to do is you can avail that in the pre-final semester per se. Right? So if you're a student pursuing a 4-year course, then you can avail it in the 7th semester. If you're a dual degree student, then you can avail it in the 9th semester. The SAIP and SAPP, it actually covers uh, the BTP1 or the MTP1 plus one of the electives, 3-credit elective. Right? So if you are a 4-year student, then it covers 7 credits of your coursework. If you're a 5-year student, then it covers around, depending on your engineering or science background, it covers 12 to 15, 13 to 15 credits. Right? The remaining credits you need to complete in the previous semesters. For example, uh, let's say in the 5th, 6th, and 8th semester for a 4-year student, and similarly for the 5-year uh, course, as in a student pursuing a 5-year course. So that is there. It's a nice option, and I think it's much flexible than the student exchange program, because in an exchange you actually, when you are leaving the institute, you actually have to get someone to come to your institute as well. So it becomes a bit difficult that way for you to facilitate a SEP. But this SAIP and SAPP, it's a pretty nice option that you can avail.
Yeah, also, if you visit the IRSL website, you might find very relevant information on these student exchange programs. Like we have a few scholarships, like if you are going to apply for an internship abroad and you do not have enough stipend that is provided or required for you to sustain there, there is something called the KGPF, and you will find all this information in the IRSL. So you can check that out. There are some universities with which IIT Kharagpur has signed up MOU. So the terms of the MOU are that you can apply to the particular university, and it has a very high chance of you actually getting an internship or an MS application sorted out there. Like for example, University of Alberta in Canada is a very good example where we have a lot of professors from our institute working in collaboration with their professors. So you can go up to your own professor and ask them that, sir, I want to like pursue an internship or I want to pursue MS applications, and they have their connections and they can push your application forward through that. Yep. So I think that answers that question.
Okay, thank you for the guidance. Let's move on to the next frequently asked question. And this question is how and when a student can transfer to an interdisciplinary dual degree program, and what impact does this transition have on their CGPA?
Right. So there are three IDDP programs per se that the institute has to offer. One is the IDDP in financial engineering, the other one is entrepreneurship engineering, and the third one is in artificial intelligence. So for financial engineering, that is FP, and entrepreneurship and is EP, right? So I'll refer to them as FP and EP and AI. For FP and EP, a student with a CGPA of greater than equal to 7.5 with no backlog can apply for FP or EP IDDP at the end of second year. For AI, they can apply at the end of third year. Earlier, there used to be until a few days ago, there used to be a prerequisite for IDDP in AI. That was the MLFA course. But now it has been waived off, so pretty much everyone and anyone can apply for it. You know, if you apply for a IDDP in FPEP or AI, let's say you're pursuing a BS course, a 4-year BS in physics, the degree that you will be getting at the end of 5 years, IDDP turns your, coursework to 5 years. 4 year is the BS and the fifth year is the MTech that you'll be getting. So basically, you'll be getting a degree of BS plus MTech, not BS and MS. For BTech and MTech, you'll be getting BTech and MTech as usual. And yeah, that's about the IDDP program that is there. What impact does this transition have on their CGPA? Well, not a lot. In terms of the courses, I think a few breadth electives and a couple of things are waived off because there are a few mandatory courses that you have to do as with regards to your interdisciplinary dual degree program. But apart from that, it wouldn't have a lot of impact on your CGPA until and unless you find the coursework to be difficult. And yeah, in your fifth year, if you convert to IDDP, you will be getting a stipend as well, and your fees would be reduced to 5,000 per semester, tuition fee. I mean, that's a nice incentive. And also, if you pursue financial engineering per se, then a lot of finance companies might give you preference over other departments because you know a bit of finance. For engineering entrepreneurship, I can't say a lot because I I mean, it's a nice course to have if you're planning to open a venture of yours or planning to pursue further MBA or sorts of things. And AI, I mean, it's in the trend and you can do it and everything. That's pretty much it.
So thank you, Mr. Palkit, for your response. So the next question is, at what stage can a BTech student transition to a dual degree program, and what are the criteria governing this transition?
Right. So a normal dual degree, well, again, IDDP you have covered. A normal dual degree is basically a uh, transition to a dual degree program within the same department, that is the parent department. So BS in economics, you have enrolled as a student in pursuing BS in economics, and then at the end of third year you realize कि CDC nahi laga hai, and you have to do something. So you convert to a dual degree program, or if you want to pursue a master's, for example, a lot of companies or government jobs actually require you to have a master's degree. So for that reason, you decide to convert to a dual degree program. You can do the same at the end of your sixth semester, that is at the end of third year. And the criteria, it's pretty much simple. You shouldn't have any active backlogs. And the CGPA, I think it's 7. Just let me check. Yeah, I think it's 7. Yeah, that's the criteria.
Okay, Mr. Akshat, would you like to add anything to this?
No, I think Palkit covered the major part of.
Fine,
Oh,
no
sorry,
issues.
just a second. The CGPA limit is 6, not 7. So no backlog and a CGPA of 6.
Okay, thank you so
Also,
much.
one more thing that I would like to add here that like Palkit says that people usually convert their uh, 4 year to a dual degree because they feel that CDC nahi laga. One more thing that is a little relevant in the companies I had applied to and I've heard about it from a lot of people is that people usually prefer a dual degree student than a 4 year guy. And also the stipend is higher for a dual degree student than a 4 year guy. Because yeah, you are obviously studying for an extra year. You are more experienced, you have a master degree. So they usually get a upper hand, but it's not like mandatory. Like for example, my company Accenture is paying more to a dual degree student than to a 4 year student, and similarly for Walmart and a few other companies I know of. But yeah, it's pretty evident that you are studying for an extra year, so you'll have a upper hand. You'll have extra knowledge. You'll have a master's degree, which a 4 year person won't have. And also, converting to a dual degree has other perks like you will get time to complete your minor, you will get time to complete a micro, you'll get time to explore. Because after college, there's hardly any time you spend on developing your skills, exploring, and all. The college 4 years or 5 years is the time when you actually learn something, explore without any restrictions or foundations. So that's why a 5 year in my regard is better than a 4 year if you have these things in mind. Other than that, if you want, like 4 year has its own perks, like you get to complete a degree uh, in 4 years and go for a job. If you have if you want to pursue a master's in some foreign university, uh, and so what's the point of doing a master's here? Like just do a 4 year program here and then pursue masters there in a foreign university. These things are the pros and cons, and when you're converting, you need to keep all of these in mind. Take an informed decision, talk to your seniors, talk to the people who have already converted this or are in existing dual degree programs, and make an informed decision.
So thank you so much for your valuable explanation. And it's indeed a comprehensive explanation that has cleared most of our doubts. But now let's proceed to some of the doubts which are raised by the audience. So this is open to the audience for their questions. So let's review the questions posted by the audience in the chat. So first question is, what about the HSS breadth in third sem of economics, as that is from the same department?
Uh, well, HS breadth, it's not really related to economics per se. The course that you're studying, it's a major in economics, not a major in HSS. Right? They are two separate things. In terms of the breadth, there will be a list of 20 courses, as previously mentioned, but they wouldn't be specifically from economics. I think there will be one course from economics, that is economics, and the other 19 courses would be from, let's say, language, linguistics. There will be courses by the name of positive psychology, general psychology, German, and so on and so forth. It's a mandatory thing that you have to do, and you can't really skip it. So that's pretty much it about it.
Okay, thank you for the response. So now the next question is, could you please provide more details about double major and what will be the eligibility criteria for the 2024 batch students? Will each department be applicable to do that or some particular credits should match in both majors?
Uh, Come again. I didn't hear your last sentence.
Okay. So I would repeat the question. Could you
Sure.
please provide more details about double major? What will be the eligibility criteria for the 2024 batch students? Will each department be applicable to do that or some particular credits should match in both the majors?
Yeah, I think in terms of eligibility, the latest discussion that we had was a student with a CGPA of 7 would be able to enroll, and the CGPA, there is no limit on the maintenance of your CGPA. And I think there is a condition on backlog, but I think with respect to your CGPA, there is no such limit. Will each department be applicable to do that? Yes, as of now, as per the latest discussion, every department who wants to offer a dual major, they can, without any restriction on the particular combination that needs to be chosen from. And in terms of the particular credits, every department who will be offering a dual major, just like the minor and micro curricula, they will be sharing a curricular doc for their dual major as well.
Okay. Now let's have a look at the next question. Next question is, at the end of IDDP, will one be able to sit with the BS or BTech guys for placements?
Well, at the end of IDDP, you will be a student pursuing a 5-year course, right? So you won't be sitting with placements of the same batch, but you will be sitting with BS with placements of the junior batch. So, for example, if you are a 23 batch student, you take up an IDDP in, let's say, financial engineering, you'll be graduating in the year 2028, and you will be sitting with the placements, the BS BTech guys for placements of the 24 batch. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So the next question is, actually this is a fundamental question, but many of the students might have this. What does it mean by having a backlog?
It's a bit complicated, right? It's a good question, to be honest. Backlog, it's anything that you should have done as per the curriculum, but you haven't done. So if you have a unregistered subject, a deregistered subject, or a course in which you've gotten an F, all counts towards a backlog.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. So next question is, can 4-year BA students transition to integrated BSMS program of the same department? And if so, when will they have to apply for the same?
Well, it's no longer an integrated BSMS program. Now it is a dual degree. So basically a Bachelor's of Science and a Master's of Science. And for this, you can apply at the end of the 6th semester, that is at the end of your 3rd year.
Okay, thank you for the response. Yeah, and the next question is, how to apply for additional subjects for minors and how to know the slots of compulsory subjects and minors we are applying for. Will the professor of that department accept it to make it happen? And how can we change to finance interdisciplinary? Any average, any CG cutoff prerequisite, and so on.
Yeah, so also there's one more question just below it that if everything is done through ERP, where do the professors come in picture? So I'll tell you, ERP is a portal which is for both of us, like for the professors also and for the students also. So as similarly, when when you'll have your subject registration open, you will get the option to apply or request the professor. There will be a message or dialog box where you can write a message that I want to apply this subject, I want to complete a minor, please approve it. Similarly, on the professor's end, they will get a request that they'll get a list of students uh, who have applied for the particular subject, and that is sorted CGPA wise. And if the professor is keen on taking this 20 students, accepting this 20 requests, he will just accept the top 21 of them, and the rest won't be. So your action will be shown as pending in your ERP, that the professor hasn't accepted your seat yet. And if it is accepted, it will show as approved, that is green approved. Now, how do you, like, other than this, like if you are messaging the professor, or you can email the professor also, but obviously, like, professors get in, like, let's say it's an economics course. The course contains around 300 students. So it is very difficult for a professor to like check all his mail all the time and accept requests based on basis of them. So I would recommend is that you physically go and meet that professor and contact him in any other way to just tell that particular professor that I am very interested in subject to kindly accept it. Um, and there is no CG cutoff for any subject as such, but usually professors tend to sort out the students in a CG on a CG criteria basis, and they if the professor has kept it as 8, the professor will take all the students which are above 8 and not below 8, and it completely depends on the professor. Like they can choose not to take students even below 9. It is on the discretion of the professor. Uh, you can find all the slots and all. It will all be shown in your subject registration page. When you're applying for a subject, you choose the department, and that you get a list of all the subjects that are offered by that particular department. In that, you have your subject code, you have the subject name, you have your LTP. LTP means the number of lecture hours, the number of tutorial hours, and number of project hours. And then you have the number of credits. Then you have the name of the professors who are teaching that, and then you have the lab slot. Then you have the slot, that is it A3 or B2 or X or J or P. And then you go to the central timetable and just check out like if it is clashing or not. Usually in the ERP also they have the system that if you have two courses that are clashing with each other, let's say lab slot J is clashing with lab slot B. You don't know that, you haven't checked the timetable for it, but you cannot register. When you click on register, it will show a pop-up box that lab slot J is clashing with lab slot B. So you don't have to worry about enrolling for courses that have uh, slots clashing. But if you have done it by mistake, I would say as soon as possible to email the academic section regarding it through your faculty advisor. Because that is an issue that I know that a lot of students in my batch had faced because of two sister departments. So other than that, is there any question that's missing in this? Yeah, how do we change to finance interdisciplinary? I think Palkit already answered this question, that you get a chance to apply for the IDDP, and if you have a CGPA cutoff again. So IDDP has selected number of seats. Like let's say it's 40 for AIML. It used to be a year ago. I don't know if they have increased it or not. And this 40 number of students, they just do it on the basis of CGPA. And if you come in the top 40 CGPAs, you will be given the opportunity to be converted to a IDDP. And there used to be prerequisites, like in AIML, there used to be prerequisites of MLFA, which the Institute Senate recently removed. Other than that, I don't think there are any prerequisite. If Palkit, is there any other prerequisite for any other IDP?
There is no prerequisite per se for any other interdisciplinary as of now. And yeah, the total number of seats for financial engineering IDDP is now 60. So 20 more people.
Okay. Yeah, Ishan, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, there was one question in the chat box. What will be the advantage of doing a course on AI ML on Udemy or Coursera versus taking an IDDP in AI or ML?
And it's just like you taking a course online and you pursuing a degree. So it's a degree that you're getting here in IDDP. It's an MTech in AI and ML. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this entire country can do a course on Udemy or Coursera. But as you're studying at IIT Kharagpur, you are the only person who will be getting an opportunity to do an MTech. So the comparison is hells and heaven apart. Okay, that the value proposition of a particular IDDP is much higher than any other course online. Yeah, you might say that you learn much better in that particular Coursera, in that particular Udemy course. Well and good. Do it in your free time. Nobody's stopping you from learning things. But it won't hold a value in the outside world as much as a value an IDDP or doing a course, and which is in a transcript does, because it is also about credibility. That if you're doing a course here and you have got an EX grade, and you're doing a course on Coursera, you are getting an EX grade there, that Coursera grade is not at all credible. So it's all about credibility. It's all about the value proposition and the importance and the respect that this particular course and this particular uh, degree has. And doing it from an IIT is very much holds a higher value than from Coursera or Udemy.
Okay, last few more questions. So one question is there a limit on total number of students who can take a specific minor? And what are the cutoffs for most in demand minors?
No,
There
there's
isn't
no.
there isn't a limit on the total number of students who can take up a minor. Although there is a limit on the total number of students who can take up a course at a specific point in time. So let's say in an autumn semester, there's a mandatory course and there are only 100 students who can take it. The class size can only be 100. And, you know, there is a possibility that you might not be able to take the course for that semester. But yeah, in terms of minor, I don't think so there's a limit.
Okay, thank you for your response. And one question is, what is the total credit requirement for acquiring major degree of parent department that we are doing? And is it different for different departments? And do we have to keep that in mind while choosing breadth and electives?
Yes, now it is different for different departments. I think you should talk to your faculty advisor about the total number of credits that you have to do. Earlier in the old curriculum, up to my batch, it was fixed across degrees. For example, a BTech student has to do 172 credits. Integrated MSc student has to do a minimum number of 212 and dual degree 216. But now it has changed. So yeah, you have to keep that in mind while choosing breadth and electives.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Uh, One question which is raised by a student is those who want to appear for the GRE to study MS or PhD in foreign universities, when will they have to apply for it?
As in, could you be more specific? Do you mean to say the GRE examination? Well, I think the website will be able to tell you better.
Okay,
And I think there are multiple GRE exams throughout the year. Like, I think you can schedule it as per your own convenience. So yeah, I mean, feel free to Google it.
okay. A good question has been raised by one of the student. It is said that the additional is not reflected in the grade sheet, but again it was told that it may contribute to your minor. So please explain this dichotomy. So will the minor then show up in the final grade card?
No, so I just said that the transcript will contain all the courses that you have done uh, in your tenure in IIT Kharagpur. It does not matter if you have a additional course or not. It's the term just signifies it. It's an additional. Now, if you're doing an additional, whatever grade you get, it's an A, B, C, D, or F. That will be shown in your transcript, but you will be getting a degree because getting a that particular course as per is not a part of a degree. It becomes a part of a degree only when that particular course is a requirement for a minor or micro. So for example, let's say I have taken MLFA, which is requirement for a micro specialization in my additional. It won't be reflected in any of my major CGPA. Okay, but as I'm applying for a micro and I have completed my micro, now, as this additional course is part of my micro specialization, it will be reflected in my micro specialization as CGPA, but not in my major CGPA. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, pretty much answered the question. So again, I request the panelists to have a look at few of the questions in the chat box, and if they would like to answer them, then kindly go on.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Sonak, you can apply for any n number of courses. So this is a very standard thing that people tend to apply for a lot of courses. And whatever, like let's say they apply for 10 courses, out of them 5 got selected, approved, and then you choose. Uh, so, but this is something that you do for your own gain, but I would recommend not to do it because if you are applying for a course and you're not going to take it, the professor approved it for you, but the limit has been reached, so they don't approve it for someone else. So let's say, so the particular person who wants to actually take the subject don't get that opportunity anymore. So I would say apply to subjects that you're sure about that you want to take that and keep the cap to like 2 to 3 subjects only. It does not matter. There's no upper cap. You can apply to as many subjects as you want. And once they get approved, you just select one of them. Yeah. Yeah, Palkit, go ahead.
yeah, also, I think there's a question by Vedant. Minor consists of courses to be done beforehand over a span of 4 or 5 years, and does it have to be in non-parent department? Uh, well, minor you'll definitely do a non-parent, you'll do it in a non-parent department, right? Because you're already doing a major in the parent department. So doing a minor in the same department doesn't make sense, and you won't be able to, right? Now, yes, you have to do the courses starting from the third semester up to your final semester. It's good that you do it as soon as possible, because later on in your tenure of study at IIT Kharagpur, you might have a lot of things in your plate. And yeah, it has to be in a non-parent department. And also to your other question, if you do not have a degree in AI/ML, you cannot apply for a ML/AI internship. That is not true. It totally does not matter what degree you have and if you can apply for the internship in the same course. There is a possibility though that a few companies who might be visiting IIT Kharagpur for internships and placements, they have a preference as to which students can actually apply for other companies, be it in terms of their degree, major degree, minor degree, microcredit, whatever it is. So yeah, it's not in the hands of the institute. It totally depends and varies from company to company. And no, you don't have to additionally pay for minors. And yes, dual degree students are eligible for ITDP at the end of, again, the same timeline. For FPEP at the end of fourth semester, that is second year. For AI at the end of sixth semester, that is the third year.
Hello,
There's
panelists.
this, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but there is a question in the chat which might be a confusion for many of the students. This question is by Mohit Ryan. Can we proceed with anything in subject registration before confirming our department? Because DEPSI results may come later. So, if you
So
would like
just
to
wait.
answer this.
Yeah, just wait till the DEPSI results, because once the DEPSI results are out, even your roll number would change. Everything changes for you. Uh, it might be a bit of hassle, but then again, just wait till the DEPSI results are out.
Thank you for clearing the confusion.
Adarsh asked that is it advisable to do both a minor and a micro? And it totally depends on you how much you want to dedicate your life to academics in IIT Kharagpur. Like you can just choose to not do any of them and pursue your major degree. Depends on your aim. Like mine was that I'm for mechanical engineering. I had to stand out in my CV and my resume by saying that I have done a lot of projects and internships in AIML, but this degree thing holds a separate value. Let it for an MS application or let it be for a company, corporate company that is coming, because courses and projects are something that anybody can do in like a week or so. But degree is like even if it's a micro specialization degree, it's a commitment that you give for 4 months to do one course, and to do it for 4 courses at least. It's a huge commitment. So it holds its own value. Doing a minor and micro together is difficult, and it's impossible, I would say, for a 4 year person. For a dual degree person, it's doable because like last semester I completed my micro. I still have 2 courses left for my minor, which I'll be taking in my 5th year, and it's going to be pretty chill for me in my 5th year because I have very less courses. Like I just have 2 courses in my 5th year, so I can just take up as many additionals and as many courses I want to complete my minor. Other than that, yeah. So Palkit, Rakshita asks that dual degree students are they eligible for IDDP? So could you answer that?
I think I just answered that. Yes, dual degree students are eligible for IDDP with the same timeline as that of the other students.
Also, yeah, Peram, we can pursue the subjects for minor from 3rd year itself, at 3rd semester itself, and that is what something is very recommendable because you applying for a minor in your 5th semester and starting a minor courses after that you just get, let's say, 5th, 6th semester and 7th, 8th semester. That's 4 semesters, which is very less, I would say, to complete a minor. You at least need 2 more semesters. So start your courses as soon as possible, and that should be from 3rd semester itself. Harsh, this question, minor, micro, IDP preferred by companies in placement, that's completely subjective. Depends on the company that you're applying for. And I would say that if it's a data and AI company, doing an IDDP and AI and ML holds a greater value than a micro specialization in AI ML. And minor is something that does not hold such a great value per se in placements, because you are not going to apply for a core company. Uh, let's assume. And if you are applying for a core company, let's say in the field of chemical engineering, you having a minor in chemical engineering helps. But other than that, we cannot compare these three. They have their own three USPs. No, we don't have to pay. Palkit, do you have to pay extra for a minor and micro?
No, no, you don't.
Yeah, we don't have to pay anything extra. Yeah. Others, you just once your subject registration opens, you can just check. Uh, so in the subject registration, there's a form, and in that form, there's a list of courses. Like it starts from depth core, depth elective, breadth, and below that, there's another table form which is additional one, additional two, additional three, additional four, and you can apply for multiple additionals there and just request the professor. And once they get approved, you can just select them. This will all get clear once the subject registration portal is open, and you don't need to have stress on about it. Manas, if the subject is if it is compulsory for the minor and the professor is not approving it, I would recommend go and meet the professor, request them, and even if they don't agree to it, go and talk to the HOD of the department, because if you're pursuing the minor in that particular department, it's the responsibility of the particular department HOD that the minor requirements are fulfilled from the particular department side. Like if you have a course that is offered and it is not clashing with the course with any of your course, and still the professor is denying you the right to study that course, even if it's compulsory, you should have a stand here, and you can go and talk to the HOD. You can go to talk to your faculty advisor. But yeah, uh, I think that answers all the questions in the chats.
Yeah, all the questions have been answered. So with this, we approach the end of this webinar. I hope that all of you found this webinar very informative and all the queries have been resolved. So I would like to thank Mr. Akshat and Mr. Palkit for devoting their valuable time to guide the upcoming sophomores batch and helping them plan their careers. Also, I'm thankful to all those present here for being a keen audience. And last but not the least, I thank all my teammates who contributed to make this event a huge success. And Student Welfare Group wishes you all the very best for your future endeavors. Thank you, one and all.
Hey, just a sec. I'm posting a link in the chats. Please refer to that if you have any queries with respect to the academics, rules, and regulations. I think this is the document that you all would want to refer to. It's a very extensive document, and it pretty much covers everything that you might want to know. Just a sec.
Also, if you guys have ChatGPT, I would say just upload this document to ChatGPT 4, and it pretty much answers every question very accurately, because it's a very long document and you might have problems reading them on your own. Also, one more last question I would take, that Harsh has asked, what is the process of students having loan again, which dean to mail? So Palkit, could you like answer this question?
Yeah, sure. For students pursuing engineering, that is computer science, electrical, and so on and so forth, or architecture, Associate Dean, Faculty of Engineering and Architecture, A Dean FOEA. For Biotech Biosciences, A Dean BTBS, and for Sciences, A Dean FOS. Right.
Okay, I think that's done. Thank you, panelists.
No
Yep.
worries. It was nice interacting with you all.
Yes, same here. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for your
sure.
guidance once again.
Yeah, no problem. Also, the people out here, if you still have any doubts, yeah, feel free to reach out to any one of us on LinkedIn or through email or Teams. So have a good night. Bye bye.